Hi, my name is Ambie and I welcome you to the studio workshop of the Association of Pinoyprintmakers. We are behind the Folk Arts Theater, which is provided by the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Now, today we're going to do the culminating activities for Art by the Bay Online 2020, and this is comprised of a portfolio presentation and also a raffle. Now, I will be presenting to you a portfolio done in collaboration with the Cultural Center of the Philippines. It is called 25 over 45, and this is a project that was done in 2014 in celebration of the 45th anniversary of the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Now, what is a portfolio? A portfolio is a collection of prints that is contained in a box like this, and it is done in a limited edition. So today, let me show you the portfolio called 25 over 45. This is the collection of prints, but before I show them to you, I have to put on my gloves in order to protect the works. And so this project actually was done as a fundraiser for the Cultural Center of the Philippines. It contains prints by various artists, mostly Filipinos, and there are 25 prints in a box, and this collection, this portfolio, was done in a limited edition of 25. Now, first of all, we have a work of Pamela Yen Santos, and this is done in a silk screen. So as you can see, there are silk screen is the qualities in a silk screen is you can have several colors, and as discussed in our website, you will find out more about what a silk screen is. This is a work of Wesley Valenzuela. It's also a silk screen. So as you can see, there are two colors here, and two colors. So that means there were two screens done and overlapped together. Meanwhile, this is a work of Benjie, Torrado Cabrera. This is an etching with engraving and with aquatine. So it's actually, he used different techniques to create this. And what you will see is lines, tonal values, and also, like there's a richness of deep colors. This is an intaglio process. And then here we have a work by the Manuel Rodriguez Sr., who is considered as the father of Philippine printmaking. It's also an intaglio, and this is actually an etching with aquatint. That's why you will see some tonal values also. I think that's one of the last works that is done in print. Now, this is a work of Angelo Magno, and it's also an intaglio, so it's an etching with aquatint. So in an etching in aquatint, what you will see, like for an etching, what you will see are very, very fine lines. These are etched on a metal plate that has been dipped in acid to create the incisions. And then after that, if you want to add on an aquatint, the aquatint will create different tonal values. So it's really a long process, but the amazing thing is that this kind of images, because you have a matrix, then you can produce several prints out of it. So that's the amazing thing about printmaking. Now here, this is a work of Renault Ortiz, yes. Instead of making the incisions on a copper plate or zinc plate, what he did is he made scratches to create the image. He made scratches so that you can see the lines. When you make the scratches, then you make the incisions. And the incisions is where you put the ink. Actually, you put the ink on the entire plate, and then you wipe off the surface, leaving the ink only in the incisions. That's how you arrive at the lines. And then it is printed with the use of the etching press, like any other kind of intaglio process. Now, this is a work of Romolo Olaso. obviously it's a silk screen. You see, you know, portions that are colored, and in this case, he did, you see the color red, the color green, and the black. So that means he did 3 plates or 3 screens where you squeegee ink of different colors and you overlap these colors. Here we see a work of Jonathan Olaso. It is only done in 1 color, but it's a very interesting image. This one is a rubber cut. A rubber cut is similar to what you call a lino cut. And the very basic principle in there is that you, on a piece of linoleum or a piece of rubber sole, what you do is you carve off those parts that you don't want to print. So the white portions that you see here have been carved out from the rubber or the matrix. And then color is applied by rolling the ink on top of it using a small kind of roller, which we call a brayer. Here you see simple lines. This is a work by national artist Arturo Luz. And as you can see, it's, you know, like it's very much easily identified as an Arturo Luz work. So very simple lines, but this was done on a metal plate using the process called etching. Very nice. Okay. This time, this is a more complex intaglio process where the artist, this is done by Leonor R.S. Lim, where the artist possibly, you know, made an etching together with relief process to create the colors that you see in the background. So this is a combined intaglio and relief process. Meanwhile, this is, well, personally one of my favorite works. This is done by Ofelia Gelvezon-Tequi. It's an etching also with aquatint, but you will notice that there are also different colors. This was done with a process of what they call, or what we call in printmaking, a la poupée. So instead of applying just 1 color on the plate, the artist created, you know, like the artist inked the parts with different colors using a piece of, you know, a soft cloth, almost like foamy like material, maybe wool or something. And then for every portion, she would use a different color to ink it. This is a work of Jess Flores. It is an aquatint, no, it is an etching, but instead of doing aquatint for the tonal values, he did stippling. So the tonal values was created with stippling on the metal plate, and the plate was dipped in acid, and that's how he captured the different tonal values. This is a work of Noell Farol. It's also a silk screen, and as you can see, there are several colors. Again, this is an overlaying of different colors by squeegeeing the colors on top of the other to create the, you know, the more complex imagery with defined by different colors. And here we see a work by Brenda Fajardo. So this one is also an etching with aquatint, and you can tell that because you can see fine lines. You can see fine lines and tonal values. And usually they're printed in, in just 1 color. But like the work of Ofelia Gelvezon-Tequi, you see different colors because she used a la poupée. Now this one, you know, the image comes on very strong. This is a rubber cut done by Neil Doloricon. So as you can see, the white parts are the parts that he carved out from the rubber sew. But because of the expressive strokes of his cutting, you know, you can get that very distinct, strong impact. And also because he used just one color, which is very dark, it's actually black ink. And you know, this is just amazing. You know, like how you can create something very strong in your images in a simple relief process. Now, this is a work of Janus De La Cruz. Again, he used in this work intaglio. It's an intaglio, but he used also etching with aquatint. So again, you see the very fine lines and also tonal values. But in his work, he created it with a different color, not black, not a very dark color, but you can also use different colors. So in his case, he used a kind of like red. Okay, this one, wow, this is an amazing work actually. This one is done by Phil De La Cruz. He's one of the noted printmakers of in the Philippines. And he's one that specializes in what you call mezzo tint. Mezzo tint is a more complicated process. It's non-acid, but there you can create, you know, tonal values by using a special tool called a rocker, where you create indentions, very, very fine indentions on a copper plate, and then you burnish it to create the highlights. So in that case, what you can achieve is a very soft tonal value. Okay, this is a work of Joey Cobcobo. Again, this is an intaglio process where he used etching. But what you notice here is that the lines are not as fine as those that we've seen earlier. That's because when he dipped the metal plate in acid, it took him he took longer time. So if you dip the metal plate in acid, the metal plate that has been worked on in acid, and you take much longer time, that means that the incisions will become deeper, and the deeper it gets, the more ink it will receive. And so that when you print it, more ink will come onto the paper. So that there you will achieve thicker lines than when you dip it with less time. Now this one is also an etching with aquatint. So the aquatint is the one that creates the very, very, very rich black background. So again, aquatint is all about tonal values. But the lines that you see here was created using etching. This is a work by Imelda, Cajipe, and Endaya. Now for this work, it's also very interesting that the artist only used etching without aquatint. And this is done by Eugene Jarque. You will notice that his works in other mediums would also, you know, like it's very uniquely his work, and he's able to achieve, or he's able to present or create a work that's very uniquely his, even in his etchings. What I mean is that you know, even if we use the same techniques in printmaking, we can still assert the individuality of the artist. This is a work of Mars Bugaoan, and as you can see, there are several different tones of gray. There's a gray that's really very dark, and then there's a gray that's really, really light. Plus, also, there are very fine lines. So again, this is an etching with aquatint. Now, this one is a work of Pandey Aviado, another noted printmaker in the Philippines. He's a very active member on board member of the association. And here he used etching. And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe if he ever used aquatint here, it's very, very light. I think it's only in the background. But you see, if you use fine lines, if you create fine lines in etching, and you draw as if you're drawing like pen and ink, so you can achieve also tonal values by creating those lines. So I think that's how he did it here, because you will see like this almost seemed like a tonal value, but I think it's like many lines using etching. All right, for this work, it's also done in etching with aquatint. This is a work of Jose Santos Ardivilla. So again, like I tell you, just because we're using the same techniques, it doesn't mean that our works will look the same, but we can still assert the very individual qualities that are unique in every artist. And then finally, no, not yet finally, but here, of course, a lot of you may be able to are able to recognize this. This is a work of national artist BenCab, and this is an etching without aquatint. But again, the tonal values that you see is created by the number of lines, by the the complexity of the lines in the drawing itself. Wow, it's raining now, and I think like usually when we have the face-to-face art by the bay, it usually rains, but we consider it as a blessing. Anyway, for the final work, this is my work, and this is done in relief also. This is a 3-color woodcut print, so meaning I created several pieces of wood to which I printed in layers. So you see different colors would overlap to create a new color. So there you have it. A collection of prints in a box. It's called a portfolio. And there's more because this coming first in the beginning of the year 2021, we're actually working on a new portfolio, actually 2 portfolios that will be launched in early 2021. So again, this is a collaboration of the Cultural Center of the Philippines and the Association of Pinoy Printmakers. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and I hope and we thank you for like watching out for us in the website of the Art by the Bay online. And for later, there's going to be the raffle. So I hope that you stand by. Thank you very much.